Good morning and welcome back to SorWil Solutions, where we talk about what's going on in our community. Today, we're joined by Terri, and hold on, we wrote this down, Wojtalewicz,
Yep.
the library director for the city of Lansing. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm a little excited and nervous all at the same time about
We're
this.
going to have a good time.
Absolutely.
But you have been at the center of some controversy lately, or maybe not controversy, but you've had a number of discussions about what's going on with our libraries, the way they're being viewed, people's perception in our community. Before we get to that, why don't you tell me how you got into what made you decide to be a library director?
Well, that goes back a bit.
Okay.
Way back when I was in junior high, my grandmother looked at me and said, "You're going to be a librarian."
That's interesting.
And she was very involved with the library in her town when we would go back for TDY. My dad was in the Air Force. We'd stop at Harry S. Truman's birthplace and go to the library. What I found out later on was she was integral in starting the bookmobile for their county in 1950s. So she's like, "You're going to do this." And I'm like, "No, I'm not." Fast forward and found out that was my passion. I ended up graduating with a bachelor's in library science after trying many things. It took me about 7 years because I was bound and determined not to be a librarian. So did that and kind of moved along the way, and here I am. So my dream when I worked on that was to work in a smaller town with a smaller library and staff, and just have fun with it.
Not many people can say they accomplished their exact dream the way it played out. I mean, it is a small town with 11,000 people, I think is what Lansing
Yeah,
is.
right. 12,000 people.
What role do you believe that the public library plays in our community?
I like to think that we are becoming more of a hub for the community, another gathering spot. We have a lot of people who come by and just to hang out, just to read, to do homework, to craft, to do just be, which is nice. The libraries around the country really are one of the last places that people can just go and nothing is really expected of them, financially or anything. They can just have a place to relax.
Do you think that, I mean, it seems there seems to be a trend moving towards people using Kindles and checking books out online. Do you ever see a time where there isn't a physical library?
Maybe in the distant future. I think we still have about 75% of our checkout is still currently physical books. About 25% the online. So maybe someday down the road, one of the things that that leads me to believe that there's going to be books regardless. When you have books online, you can easily go in, publishers, whoever is in control of the technology can change a word, can change a paragraph, which completely changes the meaning of a book that you may be reading. But if you have the first edition or, an edition of a book, you see that was what the original meant. So
I've talked to a lot of people who say they just like the feel of the book in their hands, the smell of a book.
yes.
Are you
Absolutely.
like that?
No,
you like a Kindle.
I do like a Kindle, specifically a Kindle, not even an iPad.
Okay.
I get too distracted with iPads or even with sometimes even physical books but the Kindle notifications don't pop up. It's easy to carry. I can actually read more when I'm on my Kindle. I can easily throw it into my purse. I can have 5 or 6, as many books as I want on it. So if I get bored with one book, I can just pick up another one. I always have 3 or 4 books going at one time. So
But people just don't come to the library to read. I mean, you offer other services.
Oh, yes.
How many people come to use the computer because maybe they don't have a computer at home or for other reasons?
We have roughly about Last year, it was about five to 600 people used our public computers last year. Um, but more likely than not, we've had close to 20,000 hits on our Wi-Fi that's free 24/7 and can be accessed in the parking lot. A lot of times we'll have people out, even on their tablets, doing homework and submitting it, at 11:59. So,
Really?
yeah,
So people come out in the middle of the night, sit in
Mhm.
and use your Wi-Fi.
Yep.
How do you make sure they're not doing anything nefarious, anything they shouldn't be doing?
We do have filters
Okay.
on, our public Wi-Fi and our public computers and our Wi-Fi. There are filters. They're not as stringent as, like, the schools, but, yeah, there are filters on it that we will block certain things.
Is the library bound by SIPA, the Child Protection Act?
Yes.
Okay.
In order to do that, we do, have to follow that. We do have to have the filters. That's part of receiving a state grant,
Okay.
that we have to certify every 3 years that we do have the software to filter.
Now, what's unique about, and I've heard this from Tim, and unique about Lansing's library is it's a department of the city versus the Leavenworth Library that's actually kind of its own entity.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
How does that help you?
Oh, we are fully backed by our governing board, the city council. When the library was founded in 2003 by an election of the citizens, the city council decided, this is an important feature of our city, and we want to have everybody know that we support having a library for our citizens 100%. So it's really nice. We, you know, I it's hard to explain. We are just part of every other department. We work together as a group for not only the fun things like, upcoming, fall festival and spooky center and all those, but we collaborate together to make sure that our facilities are kept up. We all work together as departments to make sure that we have what we need and that we use the funds wisely to make sure that we aren't creating more of a burden for our taxpayers.
The library is now at 730 First Terrace.
Mm-hmm.
That went in around 2011, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, we moved over there in July of 2011. Prior to that, we were over at the activity center in a one-room schoolhouse.
It was very cramped. I
It was-
recall that working on
yes.
computers over there.
I've seen the pictures of that because
Mhm.
I started with the library in 2013. So we were formed as a volunteer library in 1998, and we hired our first part-time librarian in 2003, before we moved over to 730 First Terrace. So my predecessors did a lot to make sure that the library was the best that it could be.
And you're the fourth or fifth library director?
I am the fourth. Yes, we had started off with Darlene Dean.
That's right.
She was the part-time person. She did a great job making sure that everything was up and running, found the resources to make things happen. And then we had Kim Turner, excellent at events and getting the word out. And I remember reading her articles in the newspaper about what was going on with the library. And I was always incredibly impressed with the outreach that she was able to establish there. And so Mike McDonald was super at making sure that the administrative side. So I really inherited an excellent library, and I hope that I'm able to keep it going the way everybody had envisioned.
So now here we go into some of the controversy. Recently, you spoke at the county commission. Public libraries have been taking some heat from the community,
Mhm.
the very conservative community on some of the
Mhm.
issues Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Actually, it all started back, right about 2020, when all of, across the nation, and even locally. And so over the last 5 years, I've been watching and thinking about what was going on in the other communities, and even in our community to a degree. And when the controversy with Leavenworth Library happened, I was just like, I have to say something. This
If
is
anybody doesn't know, can you talk about what that controversy was?
Oh, the controversy was that there were some displays in June that highlighted Pride, the LGBT community, LGBT families, um, and other books around that. And they had books in different um, areas of the library. So the controversy was really centered around the children's books and having them available for the children. And um, I have always felt very strongly that we want to make sure that everybody in our community, when we are selecting books and selecting programs, we do it. We make sure that as many different views are expressed and are available to the people in our community. We have families in our community that both, very traditional um, and LGBT, and even a child should be able to walk into the library and see a book that represents their family, um, regardless of the way their family is organized. So um, I don't think that people should um, dictate what other families check out or have access to. Um, one of the things that stuck with me when I was working on um, my master's in library science is that if you don't have something on your shelves that represents a person who walks into it, they feel alone. They don't feel as if they feel as if they're the only ones going through it. So whether it's books on that show people going through struggles with addiction or divorce or abuse, anything, even going to grandma's for the summer and playing on the farm, it doesn't have to be controversial. It's just we should have a variety of items that people can identify with.
Some of the concern from what I've read is that people are concerned with some of the displays in the library or children having access to books that may be not age appropriate, that are on the LGBTQ side. First of all, what is your comments about the displays? Is that something Lansing put up with during Pride Week or Pride Month?
Well, we did not. We are maybe like a fourth of the size of Leavenworth Library. Our floor space is about 5,000 square feet. And we have summer reading program going on. But one of the things that we do is when we do displays, we will pull things that include everything. It's not just, we don't typically do just one topic. It'll be an all inclusive. Where we're doing sports, it will pull the popular sports figures, regardless of whether they're LGBT or not. So we try to integrate it all in, and not single out any particular one. But that's the approach that we take. So,
Is there safeguards in place, not just so that kids maybe don't have access to those books, but access to books that maybe aren't age appropriate?
well, anybody can walk into the adults section. Anybody can walk into the teen section. That is an important conversation that the parent has with the child, especially in a public library.
Mm-hmm.
Our mission is a little bit different than the schools, and our access is different than at the schools. So we've had parents who will be out in the car and their child will check out a DVD, and they get out to the car and the parent doesn't agree with what they checked out, and they walk the child right around to our book drop and it goes right into our book drop. Same thing with books. That's something that we make sure that the parents are the ones in charge of that. I am not going to be the parent for that child. There is nothing on our shelves that is legally pornographic or obscene, and we adhere to that strictly.
There's discussion that some of our more famous works have come under scrutiny as well, some of our classics.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts there? Are we getting back to where people are going to want to burn books again? Or, I mean, I think it's kind of sad that these books have been here for so long, and all of a sudden now they're creating this controversy. So many of those books that I've read
Right.
when I was in school.
Right. Well, in all fairness, the number of challenges that are done throughout the years has been tracked nationwide
Mm-hmm.
for decades. The books from the classics have been on these lists, top 10, top 100, for decades now. This is nothing unusual. It is just more prevalent because I believe social media and technology is able to spread faster. For years and years, the Bible was on the challenge book list because of the violence in it, the sexual nature of some of it. For the very first time, just 6 years ago, or maybe 7 now, it was on the list because of its religious content.
Oh, wow.
But we've had Fahrenheit 451, we've had 1984, Grapes of Wrath, Huckleberry Finn. My favorite one of all time is Hop on Pop.
Mm-hmm.
Was challenged, and that was because it advocated violence against fathers.
Oh, wow.
So anything can be on the challenged book list if it ends up being reported. So you have to look at the reason behind it, because sometimes it's like Hop on Pop, violence against fathers. Oh, okay. So we do take challenges seriously. We always listen. We have a policy written about that. One of the first steps that I do is I speak with the person, schedule a time to speak with them. I read the book. It's happened at the library a couple of times.
Really?
But
What were some of those titles, if you can recall?
I don't remember. One of them was a Sherlock Holmes.
Really?
Because in the first paragraph, it said Sherlock Holmes's character, his companion, was a person of the fairer sex.
Okay.
And it had the word sex in the first paragraph of the first page. And then once I looked at it and I talked to the adult who said, my child brought this to my attention, and then we looked at it together. And the grown-up was like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense."
Mhm.
And another one was a young adult book that was I can't remember the title of it, but it was a commonly um, challenged author, Ellen Hopkins. I don't remember the title of it, but the book was basically a realistic fiction, um, dealing with uh, a young adult dealing with trauma in her life, ended up having split personality. And throughout the book, you see that there were adults reaching out to try to help the young adult. And by the end, the young adult in the book received the help and was taken out of the situation. And that in and of itself really helped show that there are places to go for help when you are going through difficult circumstances. So,
One of the books that my daughter read when she was in high school was By the Time You Read This, I'll Be Dead. It was a book about a young teen contemplating suicide. And we actually got called into the school because Catherine was reading that book. How often, aside from those two examples, has that happened otherwise to you? Do you guys have parents that come in and address that?
those were the only two times in my 13 years. I take that back. I did have one parent say that they didn't want to have their child to have a library card.
Oh, wow.
And that they wanted their child to check out on their account so they could see what
Was being
is being checked out. One of the safeguards that we have is we have a default setting in our card catalog system that connects the child to the parent.
Mm-hmm.
And then the parent, when they log into their own account, they can see what is on the child's account. So we do have a safeguard there as
Does that
well.
go to a certain age or?
18.
Okay, wow. When you decide what's going to be in the library,
Mhm.
what books are going to be there, what helps you make those decisions?
Mostly our circulation history.
Mm-hmm.
As I mentioned, we have 5,000 square feet. So, James Patterson publishes probably a book a week.
Mm-hmm.
And those check out. I have very expensive real estate in my shelving.
Uh-huh.
And if it doesn't check out, it doesn't stay.
How long is that?
We are so tight in our collection right now that if a book, we give it a 2-year grace period.
Oh, really?
It gets 2 years of it's going to stay there. And then if it doesn't check out for 18 months, it is weeded and goes to our book nook in the library where people can purchase either the donated items or the books that have been pulled from the collection, or it goes to our book sale in each April. So our books don't, if it doesn't circulate, it doesn't stay. So I am very, very cautious about what we purchase for the library because, bless you.
Thank you.
I can't afford to have something sit on my shelves that isn't going to check out.
What's your most popular book that's been checked out?
I should have looked.
Oh, gotcha.
Right
Okay.
now, it's probably anything by Frida McFadden
Okay.
in the adult collection. And I can't even, our picture books circulate constantly. So we have new bookshelves. And so pretty much anything on the new bookshelf there gets checked out. So
Some people see libraries as neutral and others see them more as intellectual freedom. Where do you see that balance?
we're both.
Mm-hmm.
We are definitely, we strive to be nonpartisan. We represent everybody in our community. regardless of their viewpoint. Uh, but one of the things that we are trained to do as librarians is to uphold our First Amendment. We always joke that you really don't want a librarian to do the job they were truly trained to do, because we librarians around the country have gone toe to toe with even the FBI and have won.
Okay.
So in Idaho, someone wanted access to a patron's computer records of what their search history, and that did not get very far in the court system. So our number one job, is to protect everybody's personal, confidential information, and that is even written into a state statute in Kansas, that is not something that, unless it is subpoenaed, we cannot give out any information about a particular patron's circulation history, even if they were in the library. So that is all confidential.
So if I checked out a bunch of books on starting a fire, and then I was caught for starting a fire, the law enforcement couldn't come and see what books I checked out without some type of subpoena.
Correct.
Okay. What do you wish more people understood about how the library operates?
We are a lot more administrative than sitting around and a bunch of people reading books all day. I read far less books now as a librarian than I ever did prior to becoming a librarian. But libraries are a lot of fun. We love to see the excitement in our patrons' eyes when they discover, they're certain that they don't like reading, and then they discover an author that they absolutely love and then devour it. But there is a lot more administrative work to it. We have to do the budgets. I have to do space evaluations. We're about ready to do a fun project next year with new shelving. So that involves a lot of math and making sure that the new shelving will fit into the footprint of the current space that we have. There was when we redid the circulation desk, I was up there with measuring tapes for months beforehand, making sure that all of the measurements were exactly the way they wanted. There's a lot of HR work. The master's in library science really doesn't train you for the business side of it, which is more what library directors do. So I also have a master's in business management, which taught me all of the other side of librarianship and being able to figuring out budgets and, like I said, the HR and all of that fun stuff, and getting up and talking to people. Public speaking is a huge part. Librarians are always teased about being introverts, but if you're doing your job and advocating for your library and your staff, you have to be vocal, and you have to be able to speak about the importance of the library and the job that it does.
Now, I've come into the Lansing Library on a few occasions. It's not a quiet place all the time.
No, it is
And
not.
that's a little bit different from other libraries that I've been into, where you see the traditional librarian or person working library shushing people for being too loud. But you don't ascribe to that.
No, I failed shushing in my grad school class. I have a philosophy that the learning happens when people are having fun. Especially, we aren't a classroom. We aren't a school. We have the flexibility to be more fun, I think. And that's probably not the best word to describe it. But we also have an open floor plan. Our program area, we don't have, a large meeting room that we can close the doors. So during story times and during programs, it is going to be louder, which is why about 6 years ago, we created a quiet study room that people can go in up to about, I think it fits about 5 to 8 people, that they can go in and close the door. It has a computer with a large screen in it and a webcam. We have people doing interviews in there. I proctor exams in there. I've had people do collaborative work across the country in that room with our webcam, and they hooked up their laptops. So no, we try to accommodate those who need the quiet study space, and we also encourage them not to come at story time if our study room isn't open. But yeah, we just, and actually, to be quite honest, the librarians probably get shushed a whole lot more than our patrons do.
Awesome. Okay, so we're going to shift gears in a minute.
Okay.
We're going to do some rapid fire questions, but what do you want to tell our listeners about? What events do you have coming up? Where can they go to the website? Just give them a little more information if they want to maybe become a patron of the Lansing Library.
Yeah. So one of the nice things about our library is that we are part of a 50 library consortium. So if you have one library card at any one of those 50 libraries,
are all those in Kansas?
And all of those are in the Northeast Kansas region, 13 counties. It doesn't include the larger libraries like Kansas City, Kansas Public, or Johnson County, but it does include all the Leavenworth County libraries. So if you have a card at any of those, you can use Lansing Library just like any other library in the county. We do have, let's see, we have some bingo for adults coming up. We have our fall programming starting. We are in the works of putting together a couple special programs of some famous classic authors. I don't want to give away too much about that until we have everything set in stone.
Okay.
But I'm pretty excited about those. And our friends of the library, they're doing their book donation on September 6th. So from 10 to noon, if you have extra stuff that you want to bring for our book sale, or maybe you think that the collection could benefit from it, bring it by then. We just finished our patio outside, which the Wi-Fi. So hopefully with this cooler weather, we will have more programs outside. Maybe our crochet club, book club, will be able to utilize that area when it's not so hot. So we have a lot of fun programs coming up that really enrich the Dolly Parton Imagination Library that we're a part of. So the younger kids are Move and Groove, where there's a lot of singing and dancing and not so quiet stuff going on. So it's a lot of fun.
You brought up something. If I have extra books, can I bring them to the library to donate? Do you guys take donations?
We do take donations, and we take them on those donation days that are all on the calendar right now. To find out those, you just go to our website, which is lansingks.org/library.
Okay.
And on our calendar, it has a list of, or it has on our calendar all the dates that we have either donation days or friends meetings where you can find out more about what's going on with the library.
Awesome. Now we're going to get to my favorite part of the show, where you get to pick 4 questions and I get to pick the 5th. I'll let you.
Oh, okay.
I will let you choose the numbers from 1 to 10. The first number you'd like.
Number 9.
Number 9. If you weren't a librarian, what career would you have pushed?
If I weren't a librarian,
what would you have become?
I would have been an archaeologist.
An archaeologist?
Yes.
Indiana Jones?
Yes, because that's what we really do.
Uh-huh. Okay. Next number.
Number 4.
First place you'd go if you had a week off.
The mountains by a lake.
The mountains by like a specific state? Or just any mountains?
Tennessee or Colorado.
Okay. All right. Next number?
Number 6.
Number 6. What book has influenced you most in your career?
The Winnie the Pooh series.
Why is that?
Because each of the characters are very different and they represent different parts of people. You have the anxious, you have the glum, you have the wise, and so each of them, I think, really bring a different aspect of just life in general.
Okay. One more.
2.
A book you think everyone should read at least once.
That one's hard. There's a lot of different.
Do you have a favorite book?
I do. I would say it was A Secret Garden.
Okay.
It was just something that taught me early in how people have to learn how to adapt to different situations and overcome.
All right. The last question I get to ask. What's the best piece of advice you've ever gotten?
Always give someone just enough rope to hang themselves.
Okay. It's a little morbid.
It would, but that was given to me. It was like, because I would always kind of push the envelope. And she's like, I always gave you just enough rope to hang yourself, but you never did. You always figured it out.
Okay.
And so it's kind of morbid, but my mentor told me that back when I started my career. She's like, you give people the space they need to figure things out and watch them rise to the top. So if you micromanage, you're going to create more chaos than if you just give them, this is the starting point, this is the end point, and then let them do what they need to do in between. As long as the end result is what needs to be done. And it may not be what you want it to be. It may have evolved through the process. So that has always stuck with me, was like, yeah, enough rope to hang yourself.
Okay. And something that we normally do between segments, and I forgot today, I'm repping CASA as the nonprofit that we're giving a shout out to for all the work they do with children and, and their safety and, them going through the court systems and how much of a struggle that is. So a wonderful nonprofit in our area that is just doing great things.
Absolutely. And we have donated, our friends of the group, library group, have donated books to their organization a few years back so they could have books when they had their visits.
That's awesome. That was our segment with Terri Wojtalewicz. Thank you so much for being here. It's really exciting to have you and your perspective. I know we talked about some things going on in the community. And that's really what the goal of our podcast is, really to address some of the things going on, to talk about it. We are just nonpartisan. And for those of you watching, if you enjoy our podcast and, you're interested in seeing it to continue, please like and subscribe as we try to get the message out to everyone about the wonderful things going on in our community. Our next guest is actually going to be here tomorrow. We have Mr. Beat coming, Matt Beat, who is a former teacher and current podcaster and very knowledgeable on a number of issues. So if you're interested in seeing that, that'll be our next podcast. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
And that is our episode for this week.